A community group with a keen interest in the announcement is the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group, who have been campaigning to remove trucks from the streets of Yarraville for some time. On the line is Martin Wurt, Secretary of the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning. Thanks for talking with me.
Go ahead.
It's a good announcement today in terms of this longer tunnel. The impacts that the shorter tunnel could have had on the community included loss of open space, having that tunnel entrance near the Yarraville Community Centre and housing. So it's great to know that the government is listening, but the other things they need to listen to us about is getting permanent truck bans in place. We have a big issue in the west with port trucks shortcutting through our residential streets going to and from the port. A lot of those trucks already are avoiding tolls on the Balti Bridge, so we're concerned that they might spend $5.5 billion on this freeway system and we'll still continue to see trucks shortcutting through our neighbourhoods to avoid those tolls. So you want a ban, and have you spoken to the government about that ban? Yeah, we've certainly been talking to the government. The community's been talking to the government for a solution for over 15 years to the issue of port trucks on our residential streets. They have not said they're going to put a permanent ban in place. They've said they've put a ban on a couple of streets, but we want to have a ban on those through trucks on all our streets. Obviously, it's not going to include supermarket trucks or local trucks, but it's those trucks just simply shortcutting through the inner west.
So, Martin, you're saying the Western Distributor won't make any difference because of the tolls?
We're saying if trucks aren't forced to use it, it won't make that difference. So we're saying put permanent truck bans in place, make the trucks use the tunnel, and yes, it will potentially get thousands upon thousands of trucks off our streets every day.
Well, that's obviously an important thing, but you would have thought the government would have, if you've been campaigning, the government would have come to you and said, yes, we're going to do that. That would have to be part of their planning, wouldn't it? They'd have to be able to tell you.
Well, you'd like to think it's part of the plan because certainly the community is not going to accept this tunnel unless there's going to be direct benefits for us. And the other thing the government needs to look at is world's best practice vent stacks. You might get the trucks underground, but then we're concerned if those vent stacks are simply going to pump the pollution out over our neighbourhoods anyway. We don't have very good emission standards in Australia. Our emissions on fine particle emissions, that's what's in diesel exhaust, which is a known carcinogen. Our laws are really quite weak compared to Europe. So we want those vent stacks to comply with what world's best practice is, the tightest regulations in the world at the moment. That's what we'd like to see.
So there's a couple of steps there before it can work your way, Martin.
Yes. No, we've said this from day one. We've said as soon as Transurban announced this project, we said yes. On paper, it's got potential for dealing with this ongoing truck issue we have in the West. But yes, we want world's best practice on the vent stacks, and we want permanent truck bans in place to force those port trucks into that tunnel.
And in all the government, I mean, it seems strange to me because the government is blowing its horn about the fact that we have done all the community consultation, which is great if they have, but it seems a bit weird to me that they haven't then turned around, and maybe they'll do it at midday when they're officially announcing it, I don't know. Yeah. But it seems a bit strange that they haven't already said to people like Martin, yes or no.
Let's wait till midday and see whether it is part of it. But you would imagine that it would be a selling point if Martin's...
well, you want to convince people it's a good idea.
Yeah, of course.
And if you're going to spend all this money and the trucks are still on suburban streets, it's a waste of time and money.
Martin, thank you for talking to us this morning.
That's all right. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, Martin Wurt, Secretary of the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group.